Good morning, colleagues. My name is Tsd22. I'm going to be your tutor for thinking skills and emotional intelligence. This is one of the very interesting subject, thinking skills and emotional intelligence development, subject called BED Tsd22. I'm sure we are going to enjoy. So it's one of the very interesting subject because it's more about the thinking skills, it's about the mind, it's about working with people, and it's quite fun. Bachelor's in Education, honors degree, examination-based contact class, January 2019, and the presenter, me, Dorothea Tsd22. So you can be calling me Miss Etwete. Feel welcome and feel free, and this is going to be fun, and take it easy. Introduction. Please follow me in my following presentation, which is quite very brief. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss some of the content, your study guide, some of the content in your study guide in order to help you prepare for the upcoming exams and your upcoming assignments. Please note that I will not give attention to the whole content, so you are free to contact me at the end of the lesson. I mean, at any time, I'm going to provide my contact details at the end of the lesson, or send me an email. However, I advise you that before you study, you need to familiarize yourself with the learning outcome found at the beginning of the learning unit. You need to familiarize yourself with the learning outcome found at the beginning of the learning unit. Prior to you studying, you need to already just acquaint yourself. What is thinking skill? What is this module all about? Go through the learning outcomes. They are immediately on your left at the beginning of the study guide. And I also want to advise you to pay attention to learning activities and practice them. In your study guide, they're what we call learning activities and exercise. So please study them and practice them so you to be able to know. And only study your study guide for your exams and study all the units in the study guide. As I have mentioned that perhaps you'll be able to see that I'm only going to focus on few issues. But that does not mean other issues are not part of the study guide. I'm just doing this because of a limited time. Okay, welcome to Thinking Skills and Emotional Intelligence, a module that sensitizes you on the importance of thinking skills, emotional intelligence for your learners, and also assists in designing best learning interventions. Many a times you probably, what is thinking skills? What is emotional intelligence? Or what is thinking skills and emotional intelligence? So you are here for it today, just going to listen. Keep tuned. Upon the completion of these study modules, you should be able to discuss the concept of thinking skills and emotional intelligence as a key subject area in this module, explain curriculum issues related to teaching and learning, and explain assessment of thinking skills, including the emotional intelligence, and apply ways and activities of teaching and learning emotional intelligence, and evaluate models and issues in emotional intelligence, including programs, persons, and theories. So I'm going to take you through briefly unit by unit, and I'm just going to kind of provide you to familiarize with you on issues covered on every topic of the unit. This module covers 10 units, which slowly introduce you to the aspect of thinking skills of learners and emotional intelligence. Therefore, it's very important that you need to understand, define, explain the concept of thinking skills and emotional intelligence as a core subject theme. Please pay more attention to this as a core area of the subject. What is thinking skills and emotional intelligence? And many times you see that you hear people saying, I think his or her emotional intelligence is very high, or they normally call it the EI. He doesn't have an IEI, he has very low EI, or he's very high EI. Briefly, thinking skills are the thoughts, reasoning, intellectual processes that are considered as building blocks of thinking caused by an individual to learn from their experiences, create meaning, solve problems, ask questions, create ideas, plans, organize, and make judgment. While emotional intelligence is the ability to monitor one's own and other people's emotions, EI refers to the ability to differentiate emotions and label them appropriately, making decisions without the influence of emotions or with no emotions attached. Many a times when we make decisions, we are overwhelmed. Maybe we are very angry. Imagine when learners in the whole class, you give a test and all the learners have just failed, or you were teaching yesterday and today when you come to class asking the learners, nobody is even just answering the question, how do you feel? You can be very emotional because you are angry, because you feel these learners are not just, they do not have any sense of commitment. You could easily you could just decide any fun decision that may not suit you. So when you are emotionally intelligent, you are able to control your anger, you are able to control your emotions, even if when you are very excited. Now imagine, you are on a payday as a teacher, and because you are on a payday, you are overwhelmed, you are happy, you have a bonus, you are going to give an open book test because you want also students to be happy. That's not being emotionally intelligent. But emotional intelligence is not being influenced by your emotions when you are making decisions. You make natural and just very professional decisions with no emotions attached. Now that we have described the key issues on the thinking, and the thinking skills, these are the thoughts, the reasoning, the intellectuals, processes that are considered as the building block of thinking skills. The way the analogical, the way the coherent of thinking, the way you process the information, the way you reason, the way you make your decisions, the way you learn from your experience. It's a block of, it's a building block of skills used by individuals to learn from their own experiences, to create meanings, to solve problems, or ask questions, even create ideas, plan, organize, and make judgment. Now that we have mentioned thinking skills and emotional intelligence as the most important aspect of these key modules, I'm going to take you through unit by unit briefly. I'm going to take you through key module terminologies that you should briefly look at in this study guide. For you to understand issues related to thinking skills and emotional intelligence, please pay attention to the following concept as part of other key terminologies for your study or for this module. Functional and dysfunctional thinking. What does it mean to be functional literate or to be functional thinking or dysfunctional thinking? Creative thinking, ethics, creative thinking, thinking skills, emotional intelligence, functional thinking, qualitative research, and quantitative research. What are the skills that education should promote in learners? Remember, we are talking about thinking skills, the building blocks of thinking, the way you create your own, the way you make decisions, the more you reason. Now, what are the types of education? What are the type of skills the education should promote to really have a good analytical thinking skills learners or individuals in our community? What are the steps in designing emotional intelligence program? There are different steps used when you are designing an emotional intelligence program. What is the difference between qualitative and quantitative research method focusing on data collection, instrument, and method? Now, remember, there are two different ways of collecting the information, either qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative is more about the numbers, while quantitative is more about the words. So now the question is that, what is the difference in terms of data collection, instrument, and methods? Remember, in terms of instrument, maybe in quantitative, you can just forward an email to maybe 10 of your friends for them to answer the questions. It doesn't need like a closer interaction between the two parties. But in qualitative, you need to speak to the person. You need to understand their ideas. They need to understand how they feel for them to be able to do certain issues. What is the relationship between thinking skills and multiple intelligence? I think I've given that. What is the difference between kinesthetic learning versus auditory learning. These are the different types. The way learners process their information. Some people process their information on visually. The moment they see someone speaking, they kind of just learn from there. Some like visualizing. Some love just observing. So it's important that you also look at how does the auditory learn and how does the kinesthetic learn. What are the signs of a low emotional intelligence people? People who are very low in emotional intelligence, their decisions are made based on their emotions. As a teacher, just because you have a very huge, maybe argument with your partner yesterday, or maybe one of the child in your class, you do not like the mother, you start putting all those stress on the child. But as an emotional intelligence, you are aware of your feelings. You do not mix what you left at home or yesterday at the office with what you are teaching. You are able to control emotion, that nothing influence your decisions when you are making decisions. What is the importance of being emotionally intelligent, and state how it would lead to a successful life? Now, I've mentioned what is emotional intelligence. Remember, I have mentioned that when you are emotionally intelligent, your decisions are not they are not influenced by any of the things. But what is the importance of being emotionally intelligent? Obviously, you are going to make your decision fair. You have time to reconsider them and criticize them and really evaluate if what you are doing is right. You are going to be able to even make better decisions, because your decisions are not influenced by anything, but it's about your thinking skills, of the way you process them. Now the question is asking that, how will it lead to a successful life if you make decisions not based on emotions? How will this lead you to successful life? It can take you to a higher level, because you'll even be able to lead people, because everybody is treated fairly, not on emotions, not on a certain background, not on a different relationship that they had with another person, and so on. The importance of developing a whole school approach to critical thinking. Please go and read that. What are the strategies used to develop critical thinking? The three primary functions of government, namely the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary, and the importance of assessment in the learning environment. Why do we need assessment? I mean, assessment is the most important element in the education sector, because it evaluates on the weakness and the strength of the learners, and it's also able to make a decision whether the learner should go to the next stage or to the next class, or they may just stay in the same class. What are the signs of a highly emotional intelligent person? A highly emotional intelligent person remains consistent, whether they are angry, they are scared, they are not feeling well. Sometimes it's quite very difficult for you to really pick up all those things. The types of skills education stimulate among learners to make an active contribution towards the national development in Namibia. As I've told you, that we need to start diversifying our skills to stimulate more knowledge and skills in our life. What is the difference between Christian values and character building? Remember, Christian value is not about character building, because Christian value has to do with more on religious, but character building it also has to do with maybe issues of self-esteem, self-efficacy, able to stand up yourself, obedience, able to respect other people, all those type of issues. What is the difference between qualitative and quantitative? I think I have mentioned this already. And what is the importance of being emotionally intelligent, and said how it would lead to a successful life of a person. Other more detailed information I would want to go through, look at the emotional intelligence programs. What is the concept of whole school approach to critical thinking, the garden multiple intelligence theory, emotional intelligence programs, assessment in the learning environment, and look at also how to design a lesson plan. And we almost come to the end of our presentation. Please look at the themes that I have shared with you. As I've mentioned, do not just focus on these themes, but focus on more other themes, because these are not the only thing that will be asked in the exam. There will be more other questions based on the study guide. Now, I would want to take you through further information. Number one, please pay attention to all the units in the study guide. I think I've made that very clear. 2, read all the units in preparation to the examination. Do not study to memorize, but always try to understand. Understanding is very important, because even if you are going to go next year and next year, you know the things, unlike memorizing only for the type of the exam. Pay attention to the allocation of the mark. If the question is saying 15 marks, please provide 15 points, not only 2 or 7, and then you keep quiet. Pay attention to the allocation of the marks, and be brief and straight to the point. Some questions are low or high. Some questions are maybe they have like maybe 20 questions or 30 questions. So be brief and straightforward. Do not write too many things. You are traveling from Rehoboth, but you're going to go to Okahanda, but you pass by, you're gonna pass by Marienthal and Gobabis for you to come back again to Okahanja. Please be straightforward and be brief. Provide practical example to show you and demonstrate and mark. As long as I'm interested to find the marks from the book, I'm also interested to provide practical examples. Practical examples based on the subject content. The examination is going to be a 2-hour exam, 2 hours and 30-minute examination paper. Please arrive on time to avoid confusion and handle your time properly. Use mark allocation for each question as a guide for how many facts needed. Pay attention to the question, mention, discuss. Pay attention to the verbs used to allocate the question. If the question says what is, mention, identify. You don't need to discuss and already critically analyze, but you need to mention as it is. Write neatly and eligible. Number your question paper clearly. Number your question papers clearly. This is my contact number. I'm available after hours from 18 to 20 hours. My number is 081-233-033. And my email is shitewete@gmail.com. Shietwete. And study well and all the best in your academic endeavors. However, I just want to mention these little tips before I go. Give special attention to the content of this contact class. Start preparation for exams earlier. Do not wait up until the last minute. Read. Just give your responsibility to have at least 2 pages every day. Get acquainted with your work. Enjoy your studies and congratulations. All the best. Make most of it.